Serious question, why does animated food always look more enticing than real food? Why? Hello and welcome back to Brickle. My name is Brittany and today we're going to do an Aladdin live action review. So let's lay down some thoughts. We're in the era where Disney is drawing on its classic animated history and we're seeing some fan-splitting responses, really. Nothing has blown us out of the water, with a few of them sitting around the 7 mark on IMDb, like Cinderella, and Dumbo unfortunately getting a bit lower than that. Even still, Disney is not slowing down, and we are going to continue to get these live-action remakes, with Lion King off in the future, but for today we're looking at Aladdin. But is it worth the watch? The biggest controversy going into this film was Will Smith's CGI. And look, we all know that Robin Williams did a phenomenal job in the Aladdin animated movie. And Will Smith has said that himself. He didn't really want the role because of what a fantastic job Robin Williams had done. But in the film itself, his CGI isn't really something to gawk at. Of course, the CGI wasn't perfect. There were times that Genie's hands were just at odds with his body, it was just weird. But the big issue I had with the CGI was the scenery. Movies set in magical and whimsical alternate realities to our own always have this weird CGI to kind of set the aesthetic mood. Take Dumbo for example. The scenery was all CGI, you know, studio done, and I didn't like it. Look, I totally get that the set designers can't release lava into the Cave of Wonders. I get that. But when Aladdin and Jasmine are on the what should have been fantastic carpet ride, or when Aladdin was sent to the coldest, farthest reaches of the earth, the scenery was flat. The carpet ride looked like something that you could purchase back in the 90s as a kid, whether you get the little tape and you took home. What I'm trying to say is that it felt fake, it felt wrong, and it just pulled me out the story. Which really is a shame, because A Whole New World is a key element, a key song to this story, and yeah, visually it didn't work. And the other thing that was working against the once beautiful song, A Whole New World, was the fact that they were trying to change up the soundtrack too much. Of course you want to do it when you bring it into the new age, but this just sounded like a karaoke soundtrack you get down the road. Mind you, Mena Massoud, who played Aladdin, and Naomi Scott, who played Jasmine, their duets were beautiful. You actually see the pair of them introduced to each other a lot earlier in the film than you'll expect. It's in the One Jump Ahead song, and I love that. I love that Jasmine's first encounter with Aladdin is this quick and daring dash from the law. I mean, with her upbringing, I would imagine that she would be seeing these guards as revered, and yet is this street rat who sees it as fun, who's running through the streets and creating a fun chaos that is just so enjoyable to a point. There is a certain fluidity that came from the animated film where Aladdin just was smooth and he was really good in the city because the city was his second nature, going back and forth. He knew it like the back of his hand. This was jittery and weird. Why would you speed up a fluid motion when that is what the character, to me, that is what the character should be, fluid and at ease, because the city is his home. The whole city is his home. And yet there's walking at double speed in this one kind of song, but nowhere else in the film. It just felt really off-putting and weird. Unfortunately, when you get Mena Massoud by himself, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, but when you put Massoud by himself, unfortunately, his singing voice doesn't have the softness and the sorrow almost that Aladdin had from the animated film. You can really hear this in when he sings the solo Riff Raff Street Rat. In the animated film, it's, like I said, sorrowful and almost grieving and sad, but in this live action film, it's kind of aggressive and wanting and saying, I'm better, I can be better. When it came to Will Smith's Genie, his singing voice wasn't as good as the other two, but in saying that, he really brought life. He brought energy to these songs and this whole new vibe, and I was digging it. I really liked it. In fact, Will Smith really was a fantastic element to this film. He brought this wonderful hip-hop element to the songs and reinvigorated them. Yes, the classics are still beautiful. I wouldn't say these are better, but they're fun, they're lighthearted, they make me smile, they make me laugh. And it's just enjoyable to see Will Smith dancing along with these beautiful kind of Bollywood scenes. They're amazing and so enjoyable to watch. The song Prince Ali particularly took my breath away, and I think that was because it was grounded. It had these amazing costumes and this beautiful main street, some fantastic choreographed moves, and it was real. There wasn't like, I mean, the creatures and animals may have been CGI'd, but a lot of it was real. I will always choose visual effects or beautiful designed sets, physical sets over CGI, and that blew me away, that song. It was great. With all these recreations and reimaginings into live action films, there are always going to be tidbits and whatnots that are different and twisted and changed. For example, Agrabah is now a trading port, which is beautiful because you get to see all these amazing, like, different cultures as well throughout the city and different product that comes in where people trade, and it gives this idea of wealth and power that this city has. And the other main difference is Jasmine's political interest and knowledge as opposed to her animated counterpart, which was solely focused on I want to marry for love. I don't want to marry just for the sake of marrying. But with that said, kind of have to look at the elephant in the room. So we have Jafar. He's ambitious, but he doesn't actually quite hit the mark. And I say that because the most intense and best insight we have to the character in the animated film is when he is tormenting each of the heroes at the palace. The torments are so individual and so conniving to show how deep-seated his hatred is for these people, but you don't get that in this film. He just kind of literally takes their breath away so they can't breathe, or he holds them into this time prison floating above the ground. Whatever it is, it's not as maniacal as the animated film, which is really unfortunate because those individual bits and pieces really show how truly terrifying he is and malicious. He was missing that element in this. He definitely wanted more, he definitely wanted power, which is fascinating, but it didn't reach the standard of Jafar from the animated film. Changes like these are designed to entice new audiences while holding enough of the original story for the old. And I think director Guy Ritchie has enough in his new Aladdin film to appease both new and old. But I can't give this film more than a 3 out of 5, and I feel like that's still being generous. It's a great laugh, it's fun, kids are gonna like it because of the boppy nature and all that, but it's not groundbreaking, and it's really quite a shame to keep saying that about Disney live action films. So with that said, that was my review on 2019 live action Aladdin. I'd love to hear your thoughts when you finally go see the film. Pop that in the comments below, especially Iago. I haven't talked about him. What do you think of Iago? Animated and live action. Compete, let's go! With that said, thank you so much for watching. My name is Brittany and you have been watching Brit Girl. Jafar! Janir. I swear this is the best one yet.